The clock strikes 2 in the morning as a faint scraping sound wakes me from a restless sleep. At first, I assume it's the wind, or perhaps the house settling, but the noise grows too deliberate, too human to dismiss. My heart rate quickens, someone is in our house. Silently, I slip out of bed, careful not to disturb Julia, who sleeps undisturbed beside me. The moonlight spills across the hallway floor, casting ghostly shadows. As I edge closer to the living room, the sound of whispered cursing reaches my ears. Peeking around the corner, I expect a burglar, perhaps even a desperate criminal. Instead, I find a man, a mid-30s, disheveled, sweating, rummaging through the couch cushions. Looking for something? My voice cuts through the silence, sharper than I intend. He jumps, nearly colliding with the coffee table. Oh God, Who are you? I demand, flipping on the light. The man before me is no stranger. It's Michael, my wife's co-worker, whose laughter often fills our dinner parties. His face crumbles into desperation. Look, I'm so sorry, man. I left something important here last weekend. Julia said I could. Important? I interrupt, my mind racing. Yes, my lucky underpants, he stammers, his cheeks reddening. I have a job interview tomorrow, and I can't go without them. The absurdity of the situation doesn't mask the sinking feeling in my gut. Julia's too frequent mentions of Michael, the late nights, it all adds up now. Lucky underpants? I echo, my voice hollow. Michael nods, holding up the ridiculous garment, neon green with cartoon shamrocks. It's almost comical, yet nothing about this feels funny. Julia gave you a key? My tone is flat, probing. He shifts uncomfortably. She didn't think you'd be awake. I didn't want to cause any trouble. Trouble. The word echoes in my mind as betrayal coils tightly around my heart. I glance back towards the bedroom where Julia still sleeps, oblivious to the crumbling facade of our marriage. Get out, I say quietly, my anger a cold, hard thing. Michael doesn't hesitate, scrambling towards the door, his prize clutched in his hand. Once he's gone, the silence feels oppressive, suffocating. I don't storm into the bedroom, I don't wake Julia with accusations. Instead, I sit in the dark living room, planning. The deception is clear, and so is my path forward. This betrayal won't go unanswered. I need a plan, a way to ensure she regrets her infidelity as deeply as I feel this sting of betrayal. As dawn creeps across the sky, my resolve hardens. Divorce, of course, but not just any divorce. I will dismantle the life she knows, strip away the comfort she takes for granted. I'll start with the bank accounts, then the house, and every semblance of the life we built together. Betrayal deserves retribution, and I am just the man to administer it. The coming days will not be kind to Julia, and as for Michael, his luck has just run out. The real game, the deeper revenge, starts now. As the sun begins its ascent, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, I finally stand, muscles stiff from hours on the couch. The plan crystallizes with each step I take towards our bedroom. Today, I confront Julia. Today, she learns that her secret is out. I enter the bedroom. The curtains flutter slightly with the morning breeze, and Julia lies there, her chest rising and falling with calm, unaware breaths. The sight of her, so serene, fuels my resolve rather than dampens it. Julia, I say, my voice steady, we need to talk. Her eyes flutter open, confusion etched on her face as she sits up, clutching the sheet to her chest. What's wrong? What time is it? It's time we talked about Michael, I say bluntly, watching her closely. Her reaction is immediate. Her face drains of color, and her eyes widen just a fraction before she masks her panic with confusion. Michael? What about him? Don't, I cut her off, my voice hard. I know he was here last night. I know about the two of you. Julia's mouth opens, then closes, a silent admission of guilt before she attempts defense. It's not what you think. I think it's exactly what it looks like, I interrupt. You cheated on me, Julia. With someone I thought was a friend. He left his lucky underpants here, I add, the bitterness in my voice making her flinch. How long? I demand, stepping closer. She hesitates, then a tear trails down her cheek. 6 months, she whispers. I'm so sorry, I never wanted to hurt you. But you did, I say flatly. You did hurt me. And now, there are consequences. Julia seems to shrink, pulling the sheet tighter around herself. What are you going to do? Her voice is barely audible, fear threading through each word. I'm going to make sure you regret this. We're getting a divorce, Julia. And I'll make sure everyone knows why. Your parents, your friends, everyone. She sobs now, her body shaking. Please, don't do this. We can fix this. It's too late for that, I state coldly. The satisfaction of seeing her this vulnerable is tainted by the hollow ache in my chest. I leave her there, crying, as I head to the living room to make calls. First to my lawyer to initiate the divorce proceedings, then to our mutual friends, explaining why. With each call, the story becomes easier to tell, the details sharper, my resolve firmer. By noon, the initial shock wears off, replaced by a chilling determination. I watch as Julia packs a suitcase, her movement slow, defeated. She doesn't meet my eyes as she whispers a final apology before closing the door behind her. The house feels empty without her, echoing with the ghosts of our past happiness. But there's no turning back now. The first steps of my revenge are in place, and there's no room for mercy in the game she's forced us to play. The betrayal is deep, and the retribution will be thorough. Her life as she knows it is over, and as she leaves, I'm already planning my next moves. The end of our story is just the beginning of her downfall. The silence of the now empty house is deafening, a stark reminder of the chaos that ensued just hours before. But there's no time for dwelling. Action is the only path forward. With Julia's departure, the second phase of my plan takes shape, the complete and utter dismantling of her reputation and social life. First, I need allies. I start with Julia's closest friend, Sarah. I dial her number, rehearsing the lines in my mind. The phone rings, once, twice, then she picks up. Hey, it's me, I begin, my voice calm yet carrying an undercurrent of urgency. Oh, hi. Sarah's cheerful tone drops as she senses the gravity in my voice. What's wrong? I heard from Julia that she's staying with her sister. Everything okay? No, everything is not okay, I say, deciding to dive straight in. Julia and I are divorcing. She cheated on me with Michael. There's a pause, a sharp intake of breath. What? Julia did what? Are you sure? Completely sure. Caught them in the act. He even left his stuff at our place. Can you believe that? My words are calculated, each one designed to shock and appall. This is... I can't even... I'm so sorry, Sarah stammers, the disbelief clear in her voice. I'm telling you because I think it's right you hear it from me. I would hate for you to be in the dark about who your friend really is. You did the right thing by telling me. This is just... I need to process this. Of course, I say gently, take your time. We hang up, and I know I've planted the seed of doubt firmly in her mind. Next, I call more of our mutual friends, spreading the story, the betrayal, ensuring Julia's social isolation is swift and decisive. By late afternoon, I shift my focus to the digital battleground. I pull up emails and texts, forwarding them to a private investigator I'd hired the moment Julia left. Find everything you can on her affair. I want proof, solid proof that won't leave a shred of doubt, I instruct. Yes, sir, the PI responds, a note of professional detachment in his voice. I'll get what you need. As evening falls, I sit back and scroll through the responses from our friends, expressions of shock, support for me, anger at Julia. It's going as planned, but the satisfaction is hollow. Winning this way feels like losing a part of myself too, yet I push that thought away. This is about justice, about retribution. A ping on my computer alerts me to a new email from the PI. Attached are images and detailed descriptions of Julia and Michael's meetings, dates, and times stamped. It's more than enough to use in the divorce proceedings to sway the settlement in my favor. I print out every piece of evidence, each sheet of paper adding weight to the case against Julia. I place them into a file, labeled clearly. Tomorrow, I meet with my lawyer to finalize the strategy. Tonight, though, I pour myself a drink, staring out the window into the darkening sky. The lights of the city flicker below, indifferent to the drama unfolding in my life. I realize this revenge, while necessary, is also a path of no return. Yet, there's a grim resolve within me. I will see this through to the end, no matter the cost. Julia's deception has set us on this course, and now, we both must face the consequences of her betrayal. The final confrontation is set to unfold in the stark confines of a courtroom, a fitting backdrop for the dramatic end to our shared history. The air is thick with tension as I sit across from Julia, our eyes meeting only fleetingly, the chasm of our shared betrayal stretching wide between us. As the proceedings begin, my lawyer rises, holding the damning evidence high for all to see. Your Honor, we present proof of infidelity, financial deceit, and moral wrongdoing on the part of the defendant, Julia, he announces, his voice echoing in the solemn room. Julia's lawyer whispers urgently to her, but her face is pale, her eyes wide with a dawning realization of the extent of my retaliation. As the evidence is laid bare, photographs, messages, testimonies, whispers fill the courtroom. But the real climax is yet to come. Furthermore, my lawyer continues, we have evidence that not only did Julia betray her marriage vows, but she also plotted to defraud my client of his assets post-divorce. He turns to the judge, handing over documents that purportedly show Julia's plans, which, unbeknownst to her, are fabricated by a skilled forger I hired. It's the final nail in her coffin, meticulously and insidiously placed. Julia's gasp is audible, her face turning to me with a mix of horror and betrayal. That's not true, she cries out, standing abruptly. I never? Please remain seated, Mrs. Thompson, the judge's voice is stern, cutting her off. The proceedings drag on, each minute an eternity as Julia's defense crumbles under the weight of my constructed narrative. Her friends, once mutual, now turn their eyes away, their expressions a mixture of pity and disdain. As the judge finally calls for a recess, Julia approaches me, her steps hesitant. I don't understand. Why are you doing this? This isn't true. I made a mistake, but this? Her voice cracks, the strain of the day breaking through her composed exterior. I meet her gaze, my own expression unreadable. You broke our vows, Julia. You chose this path. I'm just ensuring justice is served. She shakes her head, tears streaming down her face. You know this isn't justice. This is revenge, pure and simple. What happened to the man I married? He's standing right here, I reply coldly. And you betrayed him. With that, I turn away, leaving her standing alone amidst the murmurs of the onlookers. As I step outside, the cold air hits me, but it does nothing to chill the fire of retribution burning within me. Days later, the divorce is finalized in my favor, with the terms severely disadvantaging Julia due to the deceit I orchestrated. She leaves town, a shadow of the woman she once was, broken by the weight of consequences both real and fabricated. Months pass, and the victory feels hollow. My revenge, while exacted with precision, leaves a bitter taste. I walk the streets alone, the echoes of our past haunting every corner. One evening, as I sit in a cafe, a familiar face catches my eye, a man looking remarkably like Michael, but it's not him, it's someone else, just a ghost from the past. It strikes me then, how deeply hatred and betrayal have scarred us all, how they've guided my actions so ruthlessly. As I leave the cafe, the realization settles in seeking vengeance, I lost more than just a wife. I lost a part of my humanity, drawn away by the darker instincts of a heart scorned. The night closes in, and I walk on, alone, the lessons of betrayal and retribution etched deep within my soul.